Hello everyone, happy Friday. It's Insta Live on Fry. This is Audrey Button from Safe Harbors of the Finger Lakes. I use the pronoun she, her, hers. And if you didn't know already, we started off last Friday with talking about domestic violence in men. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, all of October. So the rest of the topics this month will be focused around DV related topics. So today's topic is really, all of these are important, but this one, especially I'm going to be focusing on domestic violence and the disability communities and, what that looks like in those communities and why it's important to talk about. And so before I get into it, hello, Sarah. Thank you for tuning in. So before I kind of get into the actual discussion today, I'd like to, give a content warning as some of the material I'll be discussing may be sensitive to some. So, please take care of yourself however you need to. And a disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed in this video are not necessarily those of Safe Harbors of the Finger Lakes, but of those in the video. And so with that, I kind of want to get into this topic. I'm going to kind of just go over, the power and control dynamics of a relationship. For someone who has some sort of disability and they're in a relationship with somebody who uses their disability against them. And we'll kind of, talk a little bit more about that. So, and generally speaking, a lot of studies have really shown that people with disabilities are, more likely to experience any sort of abuse. So, physical, emotional, sexual abuse, anything like that than any people without disabilities. And, because abuse is about power and control. And if you're familiar with the power and control wheel, which I know we've talked about before, people with disabilities often face specific barriers to accessing help if they're, in an unsafe situation like that. And oftentimes abusers intentionally use that, that disability against them or anything that helps them, with their disability. And so I'll go over a couple different things that are different for people in the disability community. So oftentimes abusers, will steal and withhold Social Security disability checks or any sort of money they get for their disability, or withhold any sort of income from them, tell you you're a bad parent or can't be a parent because of your disability. And they often invalidate and minimize your disability with claims that you're possibly faking it. And then they also use the disability in an effort to shame or just humiliate you in general, make you feel bad about yourself, that you should be thankful that they're even with you, things like that. Refusing to complete necessary life tasks for you, to help you get around, to help you with your medications, anything like that. Sexual activity, if your disability makes you incapable of giving any sort of consent, or shaming you for not being able to, do a sexual activity how they want you to because of your disability, anything like that is also some sort of abuse you might see. Withholding, damaging, or destroying assistive devices, so whether that be, a wheelchair, a walker, a cane, whatever it may be, they withhold that. They're harming or threatening harm to your service animal of any sort. They're using your disability to justify their abusive behavior, and they often pressure to have you give up disability services, to have possibly isolate you more, so you don't have access to those services. And so, people with disabilities, have a higher lifetime prevalence of any sort of abuse with people than people without disabilities. And same goes to, they are twice as likely to experience violent crime than those without disabilities. And they're also 3 times as likely to be sexually assaulted compared to people without disabilities as well. So in terms of just violence in general, it definitely is higher in the disability community, violence against them, I should specify. But there's other power control tactics that abusers will use because of their disability. And it's really important to recognize that already people in disability communities already have less access to services, or it's not as easy to access services due to their disability, even though everyone should have equal access to services according to laws in place to make it equal access. There's still, you know, a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of access to services, you know, meeting people where they are. And so this is also kind of perpetuated the problem and makes it harder for victims and survivors of disability communities to get the help that they need. And so, you know, it's really important to recognize that, especially during this month of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so, you know, thinking about those communities as well is extremely important when, you know, helping people in this kind of work. So keeping that in mind, you know, if you need any other support or information, you know, definitely reach out. You can call our 24-hour hotline, which is 800-247-7273, or you can always go to our website, which is www.shflny.org. As always, you could always comment or message us on our social media. So hopefully you all, you know, tune in next week. So like I said, we're going to continue DV-related topics throughout the rest of the month. So I appreciate you all for checking out this video. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.